In the tumultuous year of 2003, a harrowing tale unfolded in Brazil that sent shockwaves across the nation and garnered widespread attention from the global media. This gripping narrative revolved around the disappearance of a young couple, Liana Friedenbach and Felipe Café, who ventured into the dense forests of Iguaçu province. The incident prompted a massive search operation, with hundreds of law enforcement officers, rescuers, and volunteers dedicated to finding the missing duo. Hope initially lingered in the hearts of those involved in the search, but as time unfolded, it became painfully clear that the young couple's fate had taken a nightmarish turn. The grieving families, already burdened with the agony of uncertainty, were about to face an additional ordeal when the main perpetrator, a criminal known for heinous acts such as rape, torture, and murder, not only escaped punishment but found himself in more favorable conditions than before. Liana Bay Friedenbach, born in São Paulo in May 1987, was the eldest child in her family. Raised in a well-known and prosperous household, her father, Henry Friedenbach, was a respected lawyer in the city. In contrast, Felipe Silva Café, born in July 1984, hailed from a more humble background, navigating life in a large and modest family. Despite societal disparities and the disapproval of Liana's religious parents, the two met during their school years, forming a friendship that blossomed into a clandestine youthful love. Constrained by societal expectations and parental restrictions, Liana and Felipe concealed their relationship, orchestrating secret rendezvous to steal moments together. In the fall of 2003, fueled by an irrepressible desire to escape societal constraints, the young lovers embarked on a daring journey to a remote and deserted area, seeking solitude and freedom. Their meticulous preparations included crafting a plausible alibi to justify their absence and avert suspicion. Felipe informed his parents that he and his friends were embarking on a camping trip, while Liana, using her ingenuity, claimed she was going on a sightseeing adventure with her church acquaintances. Believing these fabricated tales, the Friedenbach and Café families unwittingly allowed their children to embark on an adventure that would tragically mark the end of their lives. Despite financial constraints, the couple, being students entitled to free public transportation, strategically planned their route to reach the picturesque Iguaçu province. On the morning of October 31st, the lovers met discreetly, ensuring that no familiar eyes witnessed their union. The journey involved multiple buses, a night spent at a bus station, and a final stretch on foot to a secluded spot deep in the woods, where they intended to camp and revel in a few days of undisturbed togetherness. The day they arrived was warm and sunny, and despite the fatigue from their arduous journey, Liana and Felipe were in good spirits. They laughed, joked, and excitedly made plans for the vacation they had been yearning for. Little did they know that the idyllic setting would soon turn into the backdrop of a tragedy that would not only shake Brazil but also become a haunting international story. Upon reaching the coordinates marked on their map, Liana and Felipe eagerly set about creating their modest yet cozy camp in the heart of the remote and secluded area they had chosen. Little did they anticipate that their chosen haven would become the backdrop for a sinister turn of events, as uninvited guests silently observed their every move. The couple, lost in the serenity of the forest, had overlooked the stark reality of the poverty that gripped these remote regions, providing fertile ground for criminal activities to flourish. The sight of well-dressed young individuals with sizable backpacks immediately caught the attention of local bandits. Paulo Cesar de Silva Marques, known as Pernambuco, and Roberto Alves Cardoso, alias Chino, the 16-year-old leader of the gang, spotted Liana and Felipe as they wandered toward an abandoned farm where they intended to spend their stay. The criminals, fishing near a pond, eyed the newcomers with interest. Drawn to the allure of a beautiful young girl and fueled by the assumption that the couple carried valuable items in their backpacks, Pernambuco and Chino stealthily trailed the unsuspecting pair, lurking in the dense thickets. As Liana and Felipe settled into their camp, blissfully unaware of the impending danger, the intruders observed from their hidden vantage points. The couple set up a tent, enjoyed a snack, and began beautifying their chosen spot. The bandits, assessing that no additional company would join the young lovers and noting the absence of weapons, seized the opportune moment. Pernambuco and Chino sprang into action, threatening Liana and Felipe. Faced with unknown assailants, the frightened couple refrained from resistance or escape. The criminals, eager to find valuables, meticulously searched every bag and backpack, only to discover disappointment. There was nothing of interest. Undeterred, the bandits concocted a new plan. Believing that a ransom could be extracted from the couple's affluent families, they coerced Liana into confirming her wealthy background, assuring the criminals of a lucrative payday. However, inexperienced in such criminal endeavors, they grappled with the organization of the ransom scheme, unaware of the complexities involved. As the bandits deliberated their next move, attempting to gauge the value of the lives they held in their hands, they decided to secure their captives in a hidden location to prevent any chance of escape. Initially, the couple was confined to a dilapidated structure near the abandoned farm. Yet, realizing the inadequacy of this makeshift prison, the decision was made to relocate them to the residence of one of the gang members. In this ominous setting, Felipe found himself bound and subjected to severe beatings, an unfortunate prelude to the nightmarish events that would soon unfold. In the shadows of that fateful night, Liana's world collapsed as the gang members took advantage of her bound and helpless state, subjecting her to unspeakable horrors that shattered her morale. The criminals, perplexed by the complexities of demanding and collecting a ransom, reached a chilling decision: to eliminate the captives and conceal their bodies deep within the unforgiving woods, ensuring they would never be found. After tormenting Felipe the entire night, the next day, the criminals led the half-dead and weakened Felipe into the heart of the forest. A single gunshot echoed, and Pernambuco returned alone. Liana, gripped by dread, realized that her beloved Felipe was no more. Despite the kidnappers' attempts to mislead her, claiming they had released Felipe, Liana's intuition told her a different, harrowing truth. The scoundrels harbored sinister plans for her, intending to keep her as a plaything until their whims were sated, especially considering that, at that point, no one had initiated a search for the missing boys. Days after Liana's departure, her parents discovered the fabricated tale of an excursion with church friends, and the absence of information from Liana's friends deepened their concerns. The Friedenbach family, suspecting a runaway scenario, reached out to Felipe's parents, only to encounter their conviction that their son was on a camping trip with friends. The situation grew increasingly dire as neither young man had been in contact for several days, and their phones remained mysteriously turned off. Henry Friedenbach, utilizing his connections and financial resources, mobilized the entire police force in the city to search for the missing duo. Methodically retracing their steps, investigators reached Mbuguasu, the last known location, where a massive search involving law enforcement, rescuers, and volunteers commenced. A local businessman even contributed a personal helicopter to aid in the aerial search. The grim discovery of Philippe's lifeless body, shot at point-blank range, shattered any hope of his survival. The search intensified, but the gruesome state of the camp hinted at a horrifying ordeal. Personal belongings were scattered, the tent had been ruthlessly opened, and the absence of blood suggested a sinister event. Despite the bleak circumstances, hope lingered for Liana's survival. Henry Friedenbach, desperate for any lead, involved the press to ensure widespread media coverage, offering a substantial reward for information about Liana's whereabouts. The situation took a dark turn when the criminals, having disposed of Felipe, returned Liana to the house where they had initially held the couple captive. Joined by new accomplices, the bandits, led by Chino, declared Liana as his property, subjecting her to further degradation. Amidst a large-scale search operation, the criminals, realizing the escalating pursuit, decided to relocate with Liana to the house of another gang member, Anthony Matias de Barros. Under the cover of darkness, they took Liana fishing, where Chino, feigning concern, draped his jacket over her. The situation escalated when Chino's older brother, unaware of the sordid details, arrived at the scene. Recognizing Liana as the sought-after girl, he confronted Chino and revealed the impending police presence. Chino, interpreting his brother's warning as a call to action, concocted a plan to eliminate Liana urgently. Lying to her about her freedom and leading her into the forest, he brutally ended her life with a knife and a savage blow to the head. Liana's lifeless body remained concealed in the dense forest for a gut-wrenching 5 days after the heinous massacre. Her remains bore the grotesque scars of unimaginable brutality, leaving little trace of the vibrant young woman she once was. Strikingly, she wore the jacket of her killer, a macabre detail that later emerged as a pivotal piece of evidence in the unfolding investigation. The criminals responsible for this reprehensible act displayed a shocking combination of cruelty, cynicism, and ruthlessness. Paradoxically, they demonstrated a profound lack of foresight and intelligence, failing to consider the consequences of their actions. Astonishingly, their misguided confidence in remaining undetected fueled their arrogant belief that they could escape justice. Despite their brutality, the bandits showed a surprising lack of cunning by not attempting to flee or cover their tracks. This negligence played into the hands of the police, allowing them to swiftly identify and apprehend all members of the criminal gang. Chino, the ringleader, unwittingly left a trail of evidence behind, as his jacket, with distinctive sweat marks, became a key identifier. In a further act of carelessness, he brought the murder weapon to his residence, washed it, and concealed it in the yard, while attempting to cleanse the clothing stained with Laiana's blood. The police's breakthrough came through DNA analysis, which definitively linked the gang members to the violent acts against Laiana. Subsequently, all the adult members of the gang were apprehended nearly simultaneously. Chino, displaying an alarming lack of remorse, not only admitted to the crimes but boasted about the abduction, abuse, and murder of the unfortunate victim. In the subsequent trial, the perpetrators faced justice, with harsh sentences meted out to those directly involved in the heinous acts. Perrin Bua received a life sentence for Felipe's murder, while Antonio Gano da Silva and Ignaldo Paes also faced life imprisonment for their roles in the crimes. Anthony Matias de Barros, who provided his house for the criminal activities, received a comparatively lenient 6-year prison sentence. However, the legal complexities surrounding Chino's age at the time of the crimes added a layer of nuance to his sentencing. Chino, who was barely 16 years old during the commission of the crimes, found himself in a specialized prison for minors with a relatively lenient regime. Despite his multiple escape attempts and aggressive behavior, a psychiatric examination uncovered various mental abnormalities. This diagnosis, while not inherently dangerous individually, coalesced to transform the young man into a sophisticated sadist and murderer devoid of remorse. As a consequence, Chino was transferred to a closed-type medical institution, where he was mandated to undergo compulsory treatment and rehabilitation. Surprisingly, no further punitive measures were imposed on him, despite appeals from the families of the victims. Strikingly, Chino's incarceration conditions post-treatment seemed to surpass those he experienced before the crime. He now enjoyed a private room with amenities like a large TV, internet access, and a comfortable bed with an orthopedic mattress. His monthly maintenance was estimated at around approximately $2,500, reflecting a contentious aspect of the medical facility's policies. In recent years, Chino regularly petitioned for his release, asserting that he had completed a comprehensive treatment course and no longer posed a threat to others. This chilling narrative underscores the complexities and loopholes within the legal system, leaving a disturbing question mark over the true extent of justice in the aftermath of such abhorrent crimes. This concludes the harrowing tale, a stark reminder of the unfathomable depths of human depravity. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to the channel for more riveting stories that delve into the darker corners of the human experience.